Yes, indeed, the Jim and Terry Show coming to you from the Hobbit Hole Studio in Bobcaygeon. I'm one of your hosts, Terry, and the other guy, the chair is empty, and will be for a few more days until we get together again for breakfast, food, coffee, and conversation. Two retired guys in a basement home studio, having fun chatting about the news. Have you heard? What have you heard this week? Well, I'm going to start off with a tip of my hat. The tip of my hat. Not a hat trick, but it might as well have been, because in an homage to my good friend Jim, in absentia, I'm going to talk about one of Jim's book ideas. Yeah, he's probably got it already written out, maybe a few chapters. I think he had 10 easy steps. 10 easy steps? Yeah, 10 easy steps to become the Antichrist. Mwah. The Antichrist. Jim's book idea was that if he could give someone advice to become the Antichrist, what would those steps be? Now, I can't read his mind. He has told me a little bit about his ideas. And if you check a few of the older podcasts, I'm sure you can hear Jim talking about the book idea. Well, it seems a lot closer to the truth these days when we read about, if you haven't read this, 22-foot tall? I'm going to quote that number. Don't quote me on that, but it's a very larger-than-life statue, gold leaf. And it's in front of the Doral golf course that Trump owns. And apparently the Saudi-based golf tournament, the LIV, which stands for, in Roman numerals, L meaning 50, I meaning one less than X, which is 10, so 50, one less than 10. LIV, well, not LIX. LIV, V meaning 5, one less than 5 is 4, 54 being the number of holes that you would have to play in a LIV sponsored tournament. And of course, that was backed by Trump's buddies in bad times, the Arab states, who coughed up I don't know how much money to make that league, enticed a number of PGA players to play, and now it's gone belly up, and the PGA doesn't want to have anything to do with these people, but Trump is hosting an LIV tournament at his Doral golf course. Now, what's all the hubbub about? Well, this goes straight into Jim's book. If you want to be an Antichrist, erect a gold statue of yourself. Okay, so he did. Now, next step, make everybody who supports him pay homage to it. Are they bowing prostrate, laying on hands, maybe praying over? Yeah, maybe all of the above. There's some pretty wild video of that. And I just did a quick scan of some. I just typed in the question, did Trump supporters pray for Trump's golden statue at Doral? That was my question. And the scanning of the titles, MAGA evangelical leaders under fire for leading a prayer ritual. And I forget what newspaper that is, so maybe I'll just pull it up. It's the International Business Times, and that's the heading. Unveiling of a giant gold statue of Donald Trump at his Miami resort has ignited controversy. You think? How many of you have, one of the main images of the story of Exodus, the story of Moses, and the old Hollywood movies depicting this show the golden calf. And no sooner does Moses come down and he sees the debauchery going on in the golden calf, that the people that he left down while he went up on the mountain to pray and fellowship with God, and God gave him the rules of the game, the 2 tablets. And after Monty Python, you realize that there were 3 tablets and he dropped one on his way down the mountain. Oops. Okay, so we got 10 commandments and not the 15 that were supposed to be there. That's if you follow Monty Python. However, the story is, of course, the idolatry, a nation gone astray. And there is a photograph of the whole of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, at least 10 evangelical leaders. And the one interview that really got me or the one story that got me, featured Pastor Robert Jeffress. And if you heard any of these pastors speak at the dedication, it is, to use my good friend Jim's word, because he likes to look at things from a spiritual perspective, whereas I tend to look at things from a historical perspective. And, well, let's go with the spiritual one because it makes this story real, which is that this statue had Trump's sycophants, to use another word that Jim is liking, pray over this thing, tying a ribbon stretched across the statue in front of them, and they all had to put their hand on the ribbon and pray for the statue. And apparently it's pastors for Trump. I knew there were cowboys for Trump. I knew there were mothers for Trump. I knew there were all kinds of groups. But this one, pastors for Trump, praying over the gold statue. And all I could hear was Trump's words to the reporter on Air Force One. Quiet, Miss Piggy. And if the statue was Miss Piggy, and I hope someone goes at night and transfigures the statue into Miss Piggy, that would be, a little bit of justice in my opinion. The towering gold statue of Donald Trump was unveiled at Doral, placed on a pedestal. I think I was right. I said 22 feet. Well, this article says it is. And Wednesday of last week, the dedication ceremony took place. The sculpture was draped in white and blue fabric resembling a Greek toga. It was encircled by a few dozen seated guests in chairs as Pastor Mark Burns. Now, if you see that fellow, he's a large pastor who spoke at the podium. You can find the clips of him doing that, so look it up. He's the head, I think, of Pastors for Trump, Pastor Mark Burns. Today at Trump National Doral, Miami, we witnessed an unforgettable moment, he wrote on social media before emphasizing that the gilded effigy was not a false idol. I saw CNN covering the story, and one of the media personalities writing in on X had this to say, if you have to tell people it wasn't a golden calf, chances are it was a golden calf. And I thought, well, that's really close to the truth. So there we go. Let me be clear. It's not a golden... Let me be perfectly clear in a Nixon-style voice. Yeah, guilty as charged. Instead, the pastor went on to say, this is a symbol of resilience, freedom, patriotism, strength, and the willpower to keep fighting for the future of America. America. Right. And the upstretched hand, clenched fist. What? Does that call to mind freedom? Resilience? How about defiance? Maybe that is what's being called to mind. Well, carrying on in this article, Burns, who previously described the president as divinely appointed, added that the sculpture stands as a reminder that God is protecting Trump's life in a nod to the multiple assassination attempts he has survived. Okay, throwing on the accent as a prosperity pastor. So at one point during the proceedings, Burns held up his phone to the microphone and the president's voice rang out. I want to thank Mark Burns, a pastor. He's a good pastor. He's a good man. I've known him a long time. Maybe he was at me from the beginning, right from the beginning. Well, maybe a day or two after I started. What the heck? So there you go. One of the biggest claims was from Robert Jeffress, who's had an opinion about that too. And that is, I thought it was Jeffress who actually did the prayer, but maybe not. It was Robert Burns. So what does all this mean? Well, throw enough money at stuff, it can all turn to gold. And if gold is your object in life, woe betide you. So, Jim, do I think of your book, 10 Ways to Become the Antichrist? Well, check off having your own golden statue, your own effigy. I like the artistic community's response. There have been a number of gold statues appearing in the Capitol, Washington, D.C. Only these statues were of Trump holding hands with his buddy, Jeffrey Epstein. And then there's another gold statue, another statue of Trump and his buddy Epstein on the imagining the bow of the Titanic. Top of the world. Yeah, Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. So art and artists, musicians have a way of coming back and striking back for freedom when things tend to go wonky, from pastors for Trump. Who would have thought that would ever be a thing? I wonder how I can get a ticket to one of those things. Maybe I can become a pastor. Some people call the statue the Don Colossus. The Colossus is, of course, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And maybe that's what Trump's going to have outside of Mar-a-Lago, his own Don Colossus, not just the Doral statue. Can anybody have too many statues of themselves? Let's ask Kim Jong-un, or Vladimir Putin, or Xi Jinping, or any of the other dictators that seem to be rather fond of Trump. Or is Trump fond of them? Stay tuned, the Jim and Terry Show signing off. Bye-bye.
It's complicated, this relationship I have with my morning coffee. It's from the way that I